All right, Uncle Sam FM here. I'm in the off season. I think I showed you guys. You saw where we lost the MLS and the MLS Western Conference Finals got put out. Um, I did a. I've done a video that I don't think I'm going to post because really just absolutely nothing happened. Um, I'd hope to just do an off-season video of going through an off-season of what I do, but yeah, last video nothing really happened. So what I think I'll do is I'll briefly kind of first of all review the season now that it's over and I've gotten the emails kind of reviewing Major League Soccer and all that. So we'll look at that, and then I'll talk about what I'm looking to do this off season, and then maybe get to the youth intake, and we'll call that a day. So Supporter Shield, that's me. I am the Supporter Shield champion. We already know that. Atlanta United won the MLS Cup, deservedly so. As I lacked depth, and so injuries killed me, and so Atlanta United, which is their very good team, won the league, defeated the Galaxy in the MLS Cup. So let's look kind of through my email box here. The board wants to discuss potentially expanding the payroll budgets, so that's good news. That must mean that I'm doing well financially. Budget for salaries allocated to the assistant head coach's position. It's a tough call. I mean, it sounds good to get a higher paid assistant, but my assistant doesn't really do very much. I don't listen to anything that he says. So let's see if they'll put it into other. I guess you could always get better facilities. So let's think about that. I could. Normally when it comes to improving facilities, I go training first because a lot of the youth, the regions or new gens, whichever word you want to use in Football Manager, a lot of the new gens in MLS is hard coded, like the quality. So I don't even really know how much I could possibly improve my youth intake. So my first priority is usually improving my training. So let's see if they'll put the money towards training. All right. Very happy to accept this request. So we're going to get better training facilities. So that's good, right? Develop players. Fixtures have been released. Looks like I'll be opening at New York, then hosting New England, going at Seattle, DC. That's quite the road trip. Seattle is on the West Coast, and DC United is on the East Coast. And I have to make that trip in 3 days. That's brutal. Guess I'm not going to get the scheduling breaks that I did last year. But then I'll come back home to play against the Miami Beckham's expansion franchise. Salary caps increase. That's pretty common. I don't know if it does it this year in MLS and FM, but every year the salary cap has gone up in real life. Minimum salary for over 23 designated players gone up to $500,000. Minimum for a senior is 67. Reserve 54. That's about what it is now, though, for reserve players. All right. Players with valid. So these are all my guys that are not on my roster that I have the rights to. So if any of these guys want to come back, or if any MLS team wants one of these players, they have to negotiate it with me first. Okay. So when the Generation Adidas graduate hits a certain age, when a Generation Adidas player, which I talked about in one of my previous videos, these are high quality, high potential players that MLS convinces to forego college to enter the MLS draft by guaranteeing them a higher contract. Then, because normally MLS, you come in MLS, you get minimum wage, and that's not enough to entice players. So. And I'm giving kind of the brief version here. So Generation Adidas gives players more money and teams are willing to pay it because it doesn't count against the salary cap. But when they hit a certain age, they become a regular MLS player just like everybody else. And the only player that was just Joshua Yarrow, who plays for the Union. So it doesn't really affect me. So in MLS, you get 2 designated player slots, or you can buy a third, and I am going to do that. And this is a mock draft. We're coming up on the MLS draft, which in the video that I'm not going to show. I'll see if I can find the email, the news and whatever. The players were selected for the draft. So this is a small selection of the players. As you can see in the news, 150 players total are selected for the MLS Super Draft. These are players that my scout feels are the highest recommended ones. So you scouted these guys, and you scout the MLS Combine to see them in action. And these are the Generation Adidas players in the draft. So these are the guys that MLS enticed to forego college, either to leave college early or to skip it altogether to be in the MLS Super Draft. And so I can draft one of these guys, sign them to a larger contract than they would normally get. And that contract is not going to count against the salary cap. So I always try to get these guys if I can. And I said in my other video that's not going to get posted because it's terrible. But these players they're not guaranteed to turn into good players. And that's true in real life, right? Like I remember Nick Bassanio was he was a GA player who he was actually the first pick in the draft he was in, and I don't know that I don't even know if he had 10 appearances for Real Salt Lake, and now he's like in the 2nd or 3rd division. Well, last time I saw, so it's not guaranteed that they're going to be good, but that's true in real life, right? But the good side is that at least they don't count against the cap. I'm receiving $3.6 million from my TV rights. That's standard MLS. Everybody in MLS gets that amount. That's part of the MLS's TV contract with ESPN, and I think there's another channel that's involved there, Fox maybe. So that's good. Oh, this is the exhibition tournament. So I've gotten drawn into the IMG Soccer or Suncoast Pro Classic. That's a fun one because it's a group stage. Also, as you can see, there's a Brazilian team in it. So you have to win your group to play for the championship, but you're guaranteed 4 matches. So you play the 3 teams in your group, and then you either play for the championship or for 3rd place, for 5th place, or for 7th place, depending on where you finish in your group. So it's a good preseason tournament to get your guys fit. I always get these suggestions, but I don't ever follow this stuff. So here's my intake with my affiliate, with the Dynamo Academy. Whisper it quietly, but this could be a so-called golden generation with Frank Stewart, the diamond, and a very strong group of players. So let's see, Frank Stewart, what do you look like? I mean, he looks okay. Yeah, so let's just kind of look here. I always do it by age because the youth guys are always the 16-year-olds. So just going by, and it actually is, that does look like a good class, a good intake. Because if you start from Hamadi and then go up, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that are 3 stars or better, and that's relatively rare for a youth intake in FM for an MLS team. So that's promising. It's very promising. So hopefully that looks good for the future. We'll train those guys and hopefully, build a good, get some MLS quality players out of that. Now looking down here, this is one thing that I do. try and keep an eye on. These 17-year-olds, they'll graduate. So these guys, I need to kind of make a decision on. Chris Kimura, he's an exciting young prospect, according to my scout. He's highly thought of. Phil Johnson is a 3.5 star. That could be a decent MLS player. So when it comes to time to start making decisions about my squad, then I might have to sign some of these guys. And a lot of times I'll sign these guys anyway, because at least then I've got them. I don't lose them. I can loan them out to Rio Grande Valley or to another USL team, and hopefully they'll develop into quality players. But I did want to kind of look around, review the season a little bit before I ended this video. So I'm not going to maybe save it for another video looking at my youth intake. These are my loan guys that are out. They'll be coming back in the next week or two. Artiega is probably going to figure into my long-term plans. Also Fumayor and Mimo. Those three guys are long-term contributors to my hopes for the future. And that's pretty much why I loaned them out instead of just cutting them. Preseason team watch on Miami. Don't really care about that. So let's look around the U.S. All right, we'll look at how things kind of went over the course of the year. So last year, obviously, this was MLS. Atlanta, we won't spend much time here. Atlanta won the East in the regular season. I won the West, but I did win the Supporter Shield. Looking at the Eastern Conference playoffs, and I like to look at the tree. You had Philadelphia, New England come out of the wild card, and New England eliminated NYCFC, but fell in the final to Atlanta United. Of course, in the West, I blew it. Beat Dallas in the semifinal, but lost over 2 legs to the Galaxy, and the Galaxy won the MLS Cup. Boo-hoo. I did win the U.S. Open Cup, defeated Atlanta United in the final there, and we'll just go to the final. Defeated Atlanta 2-0. In the lower division in the USL, this is the second division, so this would be like the English Championship. Indy 11 was the winner last season. We'll look at the overall standings. Cincinnati won the regular season in the East, and then in the West, Phoenix won the regular season. Looking at the Eastern Conference playoffs, and we'll just do the tree here. Indy 11 came in, let's see, well, they were probably the 6th seed, and so then they upset Cincinnati in the final and on penalties. In the West, sadly, RGV did not even make the West. And why is it showing? Oh, I guess I gotta go do this. Then we'll look at the tree. Yeah. So in the West, my affiliate did not make it. The number 1 seed, Phoenix, who won the regular season West, was eliminated by Reno, and Reno made it to the final, to the USL Cup final, where they were defeated by Indy 11. So that's exciting. And then looking at college soccer, we'll look at the NCAA championship. Syracuse won it. We'll just look at the College Cup, the semifinal. Wisconsin beat California in one semifinal. Syracuse beat Connecticut in the other. And that's actually a fairly realistic Final Four. Syracuse is in the ACC, and they are the best conference in the country probably, although the Pac-12 also is very good. And so California is from the Pac-12. Connecticut is another relatively powerful program. So these are all 4 teams that you could believe would make it. But Syracuse and Wisconsin would make it to the final, where Syracuse would win on penalties over Wisconsin. So we won't look at all the different conferences in the NCAA. Let's see if it'll let me see this. Yeah, it won't. So the USSDA, it was a real challenge getting that to work, because what would happen is when it got to the USSDA championship, all the academies would send their players on holiday till like it was the end of the season. So the only way I could work it to make it actually happen was to do it kind of in a way that won't show the results. You can't really see it very well. So unless you wait. Yeah, here we go. So the group stage in the academy. This is the academy championship. You have to win your group to make it to the quarterfinal. And there you see the quarterfinals. And these are mostly MLS academies, obviously. The De Force slipped through, but they were eliminated in the quarterfinal. In the semifinal, NYCFC and LAFC academies won, and then Revolution Academy took third, and the LAFC Academy won the USSDA championship. So then you go down to the semi-pro leagues, and we'll just go right to the PDL playoffs. Which I'm doing this partly so you can kind of see the. This is my file that I created, and so these are. Each PDL conference has their own playoffs, but we'll go right to the PDL championship, which is the semifinal. The Canadian Victoria Highlanders defeated St. Louis on penalties to get to the final, where they defeated Palm Beach, and so they won the PDL. The other would be the NPSL, and we will go stages, look at last year, and you see in the semifinal, the Cosmos defeated Miami. They played Los Trapos, and the Cosmos easily won to win the NPSL championship. So that's kind of a season in review. We could look at awards, right? Well, let's go look at the MLS awards. These are the awards, the only real awards that matter for us, right? So, Comeback Player of the Year, which is kind of a goofy award. I don't know how they get that to work in Football Manager, but there it is. But the Goalkeeper of the Year, Chris Seitz. He had 17 shutouts, which was tied for most with Sean Johnson of NYCFC. Average rating of 703. I really kind of was a little surprised that he was able to win it, but it was really more our team play than it was his. But that's how all awards go, really. Defender of the Year, I swept this one. Had Beasley, which my fullbacks get high ratings, right? So it really didn't surprise me that Beasley and Machado are on this list. They play left and right back because they're able to get higher ratings because they get more assists on goals, even occasionally scoring a goal. But the real kind of surprise was Murillo making his way in with a high 7.21 rating because they don't get any assists. Right, like Beasley had 5, Machado had 3, but he was just such a good defender. So that was a huge acquisition for me. As he finished second for Defender of the Year. Best 11, I've got 6 guys on this list. All 3 defenders: De La Garza, Senderos, Murillo, Seitz, goalkeeper, Tomas Martinez, who had an outstanding year, and Elise. All those guys made the best 11. Us in Atlanta obviously dominated this list. Coach of the Year, I finished second. Gerardo Martino won the award, rightfully so. He won the league, so by all rights, he should win. It's also how far Atlanta came from behind to win their conference was pretty remarkable. So Martino, tip of the cap, he deserved it. Goal of the Year, obviously didn't get that. The Golden Boot went to Albert Elise, which he was a monster up front for me. 21 goals in 34. He appeared in every game of the season for me. He got 21 goals out of that. Just edged out Josef Martinez, who had 19. So Humanitarian of the Year, Raimondo and Seitz and Howard. No coincidence, these are all goalkeepers. I guess goalkeepers have the fewest fouls, fewest yellow cards, and so that's probably how they win that award. And this is the most valuable player. This is the MVP, and that went to Tomas Martinez. Edged out. Well, he didn't edge it out. He won it by a lot, by far and away. Declared the best player in the league, which he was probably my most important player. I would like to for him have had more assists. He only had 5. He scored 9 goals. But still was, he deserved this award. So that was exciting. Newcomer of the year. This is another one I think the game kind of struggles with deciding who gets. At least replicating it and as they do it in real life, but because Almiron, well, he had a good year, so he whatever. Rookie of the year, again, this is another one I think the game struggles with, but technically Tomas Hilard Arce was a rookie in real life, so and this one I don't really understand what this is. Supporter shield for my guess is there's some kind of file that's renaming this award, because it says supporter shield. It's got to have something to do with discipline, but I didn't have anybody on this list anyway, so who cares. And then the team fair play was won by Orlando City. Obviously had the best discipline record in the league, so there you go. That's how this season went. A real quick kind of overview of what I'm looking to accomplish in this offseason. Looking at my roster, I am weakest. Well, my most desperate need is at fullback, right? Especially left back. Beasley is gone at the end of this year. He's super old anyway, so even if he had another year, I would be looking to get rid of him. At right back, I'm also really old. I've got Machado and Beasley. Machado and Garcia are my 2 right backs. And they're both over 30. They're on the wrong side of 30. And, I guess I wouldn't mind terribly if I had one of those guys. But I don't want to have both. I want to get rid of one of these guys. And I want to try and see what I can get for them. I did offer them to MLS clubs. Nobody came back with anything, so I'm going to have to actively seek to move them. I'm going to have to go and put them into deals, and it's probably going to have to be some kind of combo deal, because nobody wanted them, because they're old and they have relatively large contracts. So, but I need fullbacks. I need, first of all, for depth, but then also, developing guys for the future that can help this team win the Champions League. I've got Sheldon Sullivan, Manny Padilla, but neither of these guys they're never going to be MLS quality. So they probably won't even be on the squad at the beginning of the next season. So fullback is my most desperate need. I would really like to have a better goalkeeper than Chris Seitz. If he's who I have to go with, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to just take somebody to replace Chris Seitz. If I'm going to get another goalkeeper, it's going to be somebody that's going to be good. It's going to be a good deal. But it is a position that I'm looking to upgrade at. Center back, I'm actively trying to extend the Murillo deal. I've got him in on loan. I want to add a year to that. But after him, I'm aging. De La Garza is my other center back for the most part, and he's 30, so I'm ready to move him. I've got Senderos, who's 32, Leonardo, who's 29, so I don't want to have Senderos on the squad at the beginning of next year, and I'd rather have, I want to get rid of one of those guys and then get somebody in to start developing, which I've got Funmayor. So he's going to be MLS quality, and so he needs to start getting play. So yeah, getting rid of one of those center backs. But the good news is there's not really anybody. I'm not desperate to go bring somebody in at center back. In the midfield, I'm mostly okay. I wouldn't mind having another center attacking mid. I've got Tomas Martinez, and he is very high quality, and he's young. But I'd like to have somebody to spell him a little bit. Which, that has been Eric Alexander, who's not awful, but he's getting older, and he's really not that good. So I'd like to have a good quality center back or center mid, attacking center mid to help Martinez, because I'm going to need more depth this year. Up front, my front three, I go 4 or 5 deep. I want to go 6 deep in my front three, my wingers and my striker. Any of those guys, Kyoto, Alvarez, Manotes, Elise, any of those guys can play center striker. My two best, though, are Kyoto and Elise. But that's only 4 guys, right? And the truth is, Alvarez is getting older, and he's not that good. And Stevens is never going to be there. So I need 2 more guys to play up front. I'd like to get just a striker, like a center striker. But if I can't, any of those, if I can only find somebody who just plays winger, I can play any of those guys at striker. I did trade winger and got a first round draft pick. I traded winger Andrew Winger to Vancouver, and I got Columbus's first round draft pick. So that's a good deal. It's going to help me upgrade there. So that's what I'm looking at. My biggest areas of need: fullback, left and right, with left being priority, and then and then just depth. That's the biggest thing. Depth, really, at every position. So going into the off season, that's what I'm going to be looking at. I do have, and we'll look at my draft situation. So I've got 3 good draft picks. Usually the first and second round you can get good players. First round you'll get guys that will be ready to. You'll have rotation ready guys in the first round, and I'm going to be able to get 2 of those. Second round might need some development, might need to loan him out, and then third round, those are hit and miss. Those guys may not ever make it, but you might get somebody that does contribute. So I feel good about my draft, but when I need as much depth as a team needs as much depth as I do, there is a lot of work to be done. So I might do some spotty videos here and there, and then just kind of smash them together into a combined video to sort of sum up my off season. But that's what I'm looking at going in. So with that said, I will sign off. This was Uncle Sam. Hit the subscribe. Please throw in any suggestions, feedback. If I'm terrible at something, please say so. It's not going to hurt my feelings. I don't really have an ego, right? You can make fun of me, right? If you do, just, hey, make it funny, and I'll laugh. But I do want to do this better. So if you have any ideas, by all means, let me know. So this was Uncle Sam signing off.